All right, welcome to Shift Ed for March 1st, 2016. There is no I in team, and today's episode of Shift Ed is brought to you by
the education calendar. Man, we got to come up with like a cool promo one of these days. I know we've been talking about that for a while. So if Dani was here, she'd say something like, "Hey, I want to find a conference. Where should I go to find great learning events?" And then I'd go, "Have you checked out the educationcalendar.com? Hashtag the EduCal." Hey, Jamie. Oh, we probably wouldn't say that though. And where you can find education events to meet your needs across the globe. Check out the EduCal, the educationcalendar.com, a crowdsourced global mapping calendar of education events. Sponsored by the House of Ed Tech. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. I just changed the date of the blab. And the Shadow is making a guest appearance.
You can talk now.
Oh, no. Well, in my email today, I got something about Adam's blog that I signed up for Digo, and they send me like all these like educational articles, and yours was on there. And I was like, oh,
it was
cool. Which one?
Post about social media.
Digo. They just
all right, cool. I like that.
It was very exciting.
Yeah, it's not like it's anything important. Just like gathers a whole bunch of stuff. Schoenbart happened to be there.
Sends it out to everybody. It's very impressive. I was like, I know that guy. I knew him.
Good stuff. That's exciting.
Wow.
Okay, see you
guys have a good chat.
Good chat, everybody. Good chat.
So, Shift Ed this is the third time we're doing this. Real quick, I'm Chris Nesi at Mr. Nesi on Twitter, and I also host the House of Ed Tech podcast over on chrisnesi.com, which obviously everybody's invited to check out if you haven't already. Adam, who are you?
I am Adam Schoenbart. I teach high school English, and I'm a technology coach. And you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Schoenbart. And I blog at aschoenbart.com on the show and blog. Pretty much everything's got my name in it. So easy to find. Mr. Bianco.
And I'm AJ Bianco. I'm a 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher in New Jersey. And you can find me on Twitter at AJ Bianco. And there's a blog there too, which needs a lot of work. And that's ajbianco.me. Not you, but me.
Manning the chat room tonight here on Blab is Mrs. Dani Kennis. Dani is a special education high school social studies teacher from New York State. She can be found at dani.com. Also not here tonight, but here with us in spirit as always, Stacey Lindes. She blogs at iruntech.me. And her Twitter handle is the same, iruntech. And Chrissy Romano, a middle school language arts teacher from northern New Jersey. Her website is theconnectededucator.com, and she tweets at theconnectededucator. So, gentlemen, there's no I in team. We kind of pulled that from the idea of sports, and I think what we had been talking about was, you can't do it alone in education, and there's no. It takes a team effort. So why don't we make that our jumping off point? There's no I in team. Adam, are you familiar with the story that we were going to have Dani share, but she can't be on camera tonight?
Yes.
Do you know the story he's talking about?
I definitely know the story he's talking about. I got it. The superlatives, right?
Yes.
I got it. All right. So I'm going to tell Dani's story.
Yes.
All right. So Dani and her friends were sitting around school, and they were going through a yearbook, and they were kind of drafting. The one conversation led to another, and looking at students and looking at teachers, and you look around the room, and I do this all the time in my class. That I'm like, if I had to have one of these kids every year of high school, who would it be? Like, who's the one kid that I want to teach forever? Who's the teacher that you could go to for X, for Y, or whatever? I need someone to talk the lesson plan out. This is the person I go to. And it turned into kind of some joking, fancy draft of sorts. Dani, I'm probably butchering this, but this is kind of the general idea here, with the idea of the the team superlatives, whether that be, I guess I'm going to kind of broaden it here. I have a friend who, at the end of the school year last year, gave every kid in her class a superlative, and half of them were absolutely ridiculous. But it was a nice team building community thing to wrap up the school year. And this idea of like who, not just kind of drafting the ideal team or ideal school, but who can you go to in certain situations and trying to build a better team. So did I get the gist of that right, Danny? You can kind of jump in on the chat there and correct me, like I'm sure you're gonna.
I think
great job.
But the other part of it was it initially, or at some point, it almost took a negative turn, and that's where we kind of got inspired to kind of talk about this. We have a caller.
We have a caller. Hi, caller. Oh,
Where'd he go? Come back.
AJ, you can man the caller ID tonight.
Wait, I froze. I can't do anything right now.
AJ has a really funny face on the screenshot. You moved. I was screenshotting.
Don't ever let that happen again. That was awful.
I was really trying to screenshot it.
So
what are you saying, Chris?
Come on back, Jay.
Well, to get back to the point,
Yeah.
the conversation that Danny shared with us almost took a negative twist where the list making was almost going to become something that would be a negative, where it would just be cliquey and, adults picking on other adults in secret and not really developing the positive relationships that you'd like to see adults have in an education environment. So when you think about the value and finding those positive things, what are some of the things that you guys do to, I guess, not be jerks where you work?
So I'll tell you guys, and you know a little bit about this, Chris and AJ, what I'm working on right now with this very idea in mind. And we have the open seat, so feel free to jump on in, anybody. Tomorrow, actually, is the first Ed Camp OHS, which is going to be my school unconference style PD day that we've been planning for months now. And one thing that I think to kind of add that positive collaborative teamwork and recognize the idea of educators as a team that I've never really thought about before, and someone said to me, was we kept putting out information to the whole district or to the whole staff and like asking teachers to do things, and somebody made a comment that, well, why not say educators? Because we have guidance counselors and school psychologists and all these other professionals, and it's one of those things that really like hit me that I was like, you're totally right. And we obviously want to include everybody and don't want to exclude anyone. And I think there are things in shifting our mindsets and making sure that we're kind of thinking from other people's point of views that are really important here in terms of being a professional trying to shift culture in education, because I'm a classroom teacher, and sometimes it's easy to like focus on what goes on in my room, but there's a much bigger world out there, I think.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be teaching on an island.
No, those are the old days of teaching. You can't do that anymore.
AJ, can I ask you a question?
I guess so. I'm here, right?
Yeah, right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm kind of. You can ask me a question, but if I'm freezing or if I'm confused, it's because I don't know what's going on. But go ahead.
Well, my question is, you recently moved into a new position in January, and you're back in the classroom. You're than a pig in the mud to be back right there in the trenches with the kids. With that, you're in a new place. You have to get acclimated to working with new adults. How do you meet those challenges?
Meeting the challenges of working with new people halfway through a school year?
Yeah, where the relationships have been built, and how do you come into that?
To be honest, it's been a little, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's been a little challenging, because I've had two great people across the hall from me who are kind of showing me the ropes, and they're working with me. And, one of them is really into the idea of flipping their classroom. And what we do in the new school for our yearly progress, we get to think of something that we want to change and kind of analyze throughout a year. It's our SDGP. And I'm thinking about doing mine on the flipped classroom and how it helps students. And she's like, oh, that's great. She does fifth grade. So she's looking at the overall idea of the flipped classroom and how that would work for her, the 5th grade class, because she has 2 sections of social studies where I have 6 sections. So she wants to work with me on the flipped classroom and what she can do. And it's kind of going to be a little different since I'm going to flip like on a total class basis. She can only do a couple of times in the social studies classroom. So she wants ideas. So we're going to work together. Another social studies teacher across the way, she's worked with me, kind of showing me the ropes. But other than that, I got to be honest, it's kind of difficult building relationships because, to be honest, I feel like I'm being judged by a lot of people. Like, who's the new guy? Why is he doing all these new things? You know, it's almost like this guy just got here and he's trying to step up and go above and beyond. You know, and I don't want to look like I'm better than anybody, but I'm different than a lot of people.
Bye, Chris.
Thanks for talking, Chris. I think my answer was that, and I thought.
So I'm curious. Well, AJ, I got a lot to say to that. But for you guys watching, is it still blocked because Chris dropped out, or I don't know how to do any of this? It says for me, open seat, and I have a button where I can lock it, but I don't want to click that.
It's okay, I got it.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
So, AJ, I think on one hand, I think it's cool that you can kind of collaborate in 2 different directions, that there's one teacher you can kind of seek the help and advice from, and another who you can help and offer that kind of leadership with the technology to really try to help them out. Chris, can you not get back in either? Because that would be really funny.
Yeah, what's happening?
I think one of the things that I think we don't do well in schools that I'm really starting to notice in my kind of split role now, that while I'm the English teacher, I work with a lot of other departments too. I think things are too isolated in design often in terms of professional development and collaboration, where like it's really easy for me to say, I'm going to plan and collaborate with my English teacher colleague in my department meeting, or maybe even a social studies teacher if it's a human. My face is frozen funny. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Oh, there you go.
Where we have a humanities meeting maybe, but even when we try to offer professional development that like with real choice, so often the schedule ends up being like, I'm a math teacher, here are the 2 things that I have options for, but my boss wants me to go to this one, so I don't really have any options, and I'm stuck with math teachers or math and science teachers all the time and things like that, where it makes if not just isolating within a department, it makes the cross-curricular connections and really the having a the changing school culture really problematic.
Yeah, you know, I got to be honest. One good thing, something I love about this school that I'm in, 8:05 we have CPT time. So from 8:05 to 8:35, it's built in. That's a good one, Jim. Sorry, the face I got from Jamie over there was just incredible. But from 8:05 to 8:35, we are scheduled to meet with either our team or other colleagues that we want to do professional development with. So it's built in. You know, our report time is 8:05. We get in there and we figure out what we want to do. You can sit in your classroom, you can go make copies, but certain days you have that time from 8:05 to 8:35. So for example, today was our 8th grade team. Next Tuesday is our 7th grade team. And throughout the other schedule, we have a calendar of when you can meet. You know, if you are blocked in there for your team, that's your team time. However, the other days when you have nothing to do, that's your built-in collaborative time.
That's awesome. I
think it's great.
So much of the good stuff we do is opt-in, even when we don't want it to be. It's I'm going to go to a drop-in appointment and give up a prep period. I'm going to go out of my way to make an appointment because I want to or I need to. I'm going to give up my weekend or my night or a day off, whatever it is, for a conference. And those are great. And there's so many great connected educators out there. But there are also so many great educators who have real life conflicts and issues and can't commit that time. And I think we need to do more within our contractual time, within our school days, within our structured professional development to really offer those kind of resources in people's classrooms, in collaboration, in coaching, and even just giving teachers structured chances to talk. I think all of that is fantastic. And I see Jen writing about early dismissal for PD. That's fantastic. Like I think these are the kind of things I would love to experience more of as a teacher and kind of push for more of as a leader. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, this school has some great ideas with the common planning time in the morning, and then they're trying to do some virtual days. You know, so there's got to be a lot of collaboration between the teachers and the leadership and the students. So everybody really needs to work together. So you have to make sure that you are leaning on other people. It's not just about, here I am coming to work, 7 hours and 9 minutes a day. It really is about finding those teachers that are going to be valuable to you and help you become a better teacher as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, Jen, I totally agree. Admin needs to give teachers time to free up. I completely agree. And I think one thing I'd say for myself, we're getting better at that. I like the idea of rewards. One of the questions that I keep coming to is what kind of rewards and what rewards are fair, and how do we balance that this isn't my personal, I don't like looking at it this way, but I find the bigger picture how do we balance rewards and contracts and the ideas of like valuing different teachers in different ways, and does this kind of stuff work for that? Before I have a question, I'm thinking I see the lock seat button. If I lock and unlock it,
I was playing with that before. It's not doing what I thought it would do. I'm not sure exactly what's happening here. I tried to lock it as well, but when I did it, it just kind of went away. We're working on it.
Okay, cool.
And now I'm frozen. So hi, I'm back. I'm back.
All right.
And one thing we're talking about, Adam, you mentioned rewards. We're looking at, some of the comments here, rewards, that badging system. I know badging is like the new reward for PD. And what just happened? Oh, did you lock the seat? No.
I clicked it like 5 minutes ago. All right, now I clicked open again.
Whatever.
Ooh.
What you got?
Jen's calling in. How do I?
I don't know. I don't see that. So
I got it.
Okay, cool.
Did you do it?
I'm in.
Right. I don't know why I don't see that. But hi.
I got it. I think I'm in charge now.
Oh, great.
I have all the power. Look at this. We have callers. I'm in a lot of. We're all kind of saying the same or similar things from different point of views and from different schools and states, and really I feel like reiterating again the good things that we know we're doing and so many educators are doing are moving in the right direction and changing culture and helping students. That now we've got to continue to talk about how to shift that change to the wider culture and to get those unconnected, resistant, or kind of withdrawn teachers invested in the future. And I guess Tina just kind of how do we create the thirst? I love that question, Tina, Katie, Tina, Dani. I think that's exactly maybe a question for next time.
So maybe the thing is though, can you actually create that thirst, or is it something you have to have? Can you create it?
I think you can nurture it and create it for a lot of people. I don't think it's something. I think there's some people that just inherently know, but at the same time, those aren't going to be the people that tend to be the teachers. I would be prone to thinking. Whereas there are a lot of people I find that my most successful PD and coaching is with a teacher who I find something they're doing, and I'm like, hey, you already do this, or you show some interest. So here's something with tech or something more collaborative or progressive or whatever that I think you might be interested in, and you find that hook, and it's from that hook that drives more. That, oh, you like this? Well, what about whatever? You have your kids writing silent conversations, passing papers to each other. Why not try today's meet? That's something that literally happened with a teacher, and they use it every week now. Things like that, where small steps that help extend and progress the things that we're already doing can be huge doors for more.
That's awesome.
Agreed. And Adam, to go back to your original question, or between the two, how do you actually like get somebody to like be excited about this? I think it's one at a time, because I mean, a lot of educators I've encountered, they either have it or they don't, but then there are those that have the potential. So they may not have it, but they can certainly do it. But I'm not going to pull any punches and say there are people who have no interest in doing any of this, collaborating, connecting. That's not who they are.
Right.
But just a quick story. There's a math teacher who he covers my lunch every other day in the block schedule, and he initially looked at it as, great, I have to cover, what Chris does every other day, and that's gonna suck. But then that turned into, it's every other day, one-on-one time with me, not to pat myself on the back, but to talk and promote. And since September, I've been pushing this guy out of his comfort zone. And now, and AJ, you talk to this guy.
Yep. I know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
He's on Twitter now. I'm showing him different resources and how he can flip and do and change the way he's instructing and approaches education. And before we had those conversations, I don't know if he was going to be on track to do any of this.
That's awesome.
That is. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, Rob, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing good. Just one thing, my superintendent, the quote that he says that I absolutely love in it, and it's really meaningful, is live in the uncomfortable. And that's what we have to make sure other teachers can do right now. You know, they got to take a chance. They got to be uncomfortable for a little bit to find ways to get out of their, get out of the same, get out of the rut, do something new.
And I think you got to keep pushing people and celebrate all the successes, even the little ones. I think when you can celebrate the successes and you can build that culture in a school, that it could really help spread. And eventually the people who aren't on board are going to either not enjoy being at work and leave, or they're going to hop on the bus. You know, I think, and that's why, working with teachers and helping teachers, when they're willing to take risks, you got to, celebrate that any way you can, constantly, build that culture.
Yeah, I love that, Rob. I love the things you've been saying in the chat there related to it. One phrase I've been trying to use lately is celebrate our awesome. That there's awesome things going on here already. That not necessarily all the innovative tech stuff. That's great too. But there are things that just good teaching practices that go on that so many of educators aren't aware of, that there needs to be more opportunities and more of an effort to kind of celebrate each other's successes and share those kind of practices and everything like that. And so I've been trying to walk around lately and or past couple months and really take pictures of cool things I see, promote it on Twitter, share it, send out emails to people, letting them know I think something they did was cool from both a collegial perspective and as a coach. I found that's been pretty successful in trying to kind of recognize that awesome and push people out of their comfort zone a little.
Yeah, I think that, but that's, I mean, there are pockets of amazing things happening everywhere, and we just have to keep building that. So that's, I think that's really important. If you can support teachers, push teachers, and they really need to see the value. I mean, I think that's always something, is how is this going to help me? And I think, it's not so much the what, but the why. And if you can focus on the why, and then really get them to take that risk and say, it might not work. And that does come back to what Dani was talking about a little bit earlier in the side is, you need to really get administration on board, saying you might walk in and something might not work out as planned. And that has to be okay. And you have to, celebrate the fact that they're trying, they're taking risks. They're not just doing the same thing that they've done for the last 20 years.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Rob, real quick, if you were going to pop out, where can people connect with you on Twitter, website?
Rob Pennington 9, Rob Pennington at Weebly.com. That's my pretty much my stuff right now. That's what we're working on. Next week, Ed Camp, Southwest Connecticut. Pushing people outside their comfort zone. I know two people actually 3 out of the 4 will be there.
Yes, we will.
Oh yeah.
But it's my son's birthday, so.
Oh well, listen. You need to be at your son's birthday. Yeah, bring him. Have him run a session. You guys can do a podcasting session together.
He's been on the show.
Yeah, you could be Superman. He could be Superman Junior.
Superboy.
Superboy, that's it.
Come on.
No, but I mean, even something like that is pushing teachers in my school, in my district, out of their comfort zone, because they're not used to that. So just getting them to say, hey, come to this event and seeing something different. And then they get some ideas, and then they bring them back to the school and try them. I mean, that's bringing them. Go ahead.
And see, the part about that is,
do you have a lot of people from your school coming? I'm sorry, Chris, I cut you off. My fault.
No, go ahead.
No, I was wondering, do you have a lot of people from your school actually coming to the event? Do you know if they're signed up?
Okay, so we have 38 teachers at my school, and we currently have 16 signed up.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
nice.
That's a good number.
I think so. And I mean, and that's, you know, a compliment to them. And I tell them that as much as I can, because they're giving up time on their Saturday for what? To come and learn something new to get better. And that's, I mean, that should be celebrated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really great. That's really great. All right, Chris, I'm sorry I cut you off before. Jump in.
No, the point I wanted to make was that we're asking these same teachers who are not willing to put themselves out there or take that risk or that leap. They're the same ones that will then attempt to get on their students about taking risks. It needs to be modeled. Everything we do as a teacher ultimately will impact our students. Mm-hmm. So if we want to and expect our students to, you know, have that first attempt in learning and fail, and we want to tell them it's okay, we all need to model that. You know, it just seems so simple. You know, we're not going to break Google. We're not going to break Kahoot or pick your favorite ed tech site. You know, what's the worst that happens? You have to put a technology work order in, and they come and they re-image a machine, or, you know, hardware is replaceable. You know, but take the chance. And the other point that came up was, you know, how administrators can be more supportive of that. And sometimes I think administrators are the most scared people of all, because ultimately, what do we not want to have happen? We don't want our schools to be classified as failing, or wherever you happen to be in the country, you don't want your school to have a bad reputation and not have the test scores. So we're getting into testing season. I know here in New Jersey and probably in other places around the country, it gets real tough to experimental and take risks when got to do well on the test, or when a majority of your year, if you've been doing test prep since October for, you know, March, April, and May testing, you know, where do we have the opportunities to take these risks? Thoughts?
Adam, go ahead.
I think for me, I have very mixed thoughts on test prep, but I think like we've talked about on our own so many times, as an English teacher and in New York, my test has no content. It's skill-based. The content's irrelevant. So in a sense, the content I teach is, while I would never say irrelevant in literature, I can use any literature, any stories, any articles, any text to teach skills. So with that said, I feel like I can teach skills any way I want. So when I do Genius Hour and do one less text with the kids, in my opinion, we get a lot more out of it. But but in other content areas, when you have a test that is so content rigorous, it makes things harder. However,
You're right.
Did he freeze?
Adam,
are you still talking? Does he think he's there?
What happened?
I don't know.
He's just staring at us.
I know. And he's moving, so he's not frozen. What the heck?
Well, I don't know. I guess he
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Behind him.
What just happened? That was a blab first?
Yes. I think I think someone asked him a question and there was a link and he might have clicked the link, and
yeah,
that's what I'm gonna guess.
Britt Blab is in here, and she's a super phenomenal Blab team member. So Brittany, yes, the issues were fixed. Jonas took care of it. And so we've been able to have people, you know, pop in and out as we would expect to be able to do here on Blab.
Yeah. And I think, going back to your question, I think that, you know, so many teachers everything is tied into their evaluation, and, you know, and they have administrators coming in to evaluate, and if they don't see something that they're expecting, they're worried that their evaluation is then going to be marked down, so to speak. So that, I think, limits some some teachers from taking those risks, from trying different things.
Right. Teachers taking chances, taking risks, or scared to take risks, and they're worried about one piece of paper that they're going to be evaluated on. Meanwhile, it's how you teach the kid now that's going to be how they learn for the rest of their life. So take that risk, fail, whatever the case may be, but you have to kind of put something in students that they're going to learn forever and remember forever. And it's not about your evaluation. I remember that one lesson that, the principal came in and my teacher was really doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's the real life scenarios that we put our students through.
I agree. And one of my favorite quotes along that is, we only get one opportunity to prepare our students for their futures, not our past.
There you go.
And that's, I think if we constantly think that we get, this 1 year to really prepare them and, build them up, because they're going on somewhere else next year. Unless you're looping, then you might have them for 2 years.
Right.
But it's worth the risk. It's worth the opportunity. They deserve it. That's how, I would want that for my own children. So.
I agree more.
Thank you to Tina for popping into the chat tonight. And speaking of keeping it real and taking risks, let's welcome a new caller here to the program.
A new guy.
The new guy, Michael D'Onofrio. I met Michael at Ed Camp Staten Island this past Saturday, and he came to my session on podcasting, and he's all around good dude. What's going on, Michael?
Thank you. Nothing. I'm home and trying this for the first time, and I figured let me jump in because we had a whole conversation at work today with a couple of administrators about building the bridge between taking risks and risking bad observations and ratings, and trying to figure out what the administration wants and how they're interpreting the rubrics for evaluation at our school. It's a big. I teach in a large high school in New York City, but in not typical New York City, out in Staten Island. So it's got about 4,000, 5,000 students, to over 200 teachers. And so we've got teachers across all ends of the spectrum, teachers trying new things, teachers who are, I pose a question for, jaded and kind of like, just trying to get through day to day, teachers who maybe should retire, old dogs who are trying to learn new tricks, old dogs who can't learn new tricks. And there's a lot going on. It's been a big discussion lately. We have a principal in his second year. And a lot of people are very set in their ways and don't want to make changes that he's trying to implement, and that he's trying to make positive change. It's coming off a little bit forceful, which is a little negative, but people are struggling with change, teachers especially.
Struggle with change is a time itself.
Yeah.
But the point you had just made, leadership style impacts that.
Yes, very much so.
What type of culture and climate is the building leader trying to promote? They can have the best ideas in the world, but if they're not the best person, you run into problems.
I mean, judging from a subjective point of view, I've fallen on both sides. One day I think he's doing a great job, but another day not so much. But it's not so much about that as I think it's really important that the message between the district, in this case the city, and then the administration and then the teachers is all the same, because you don't get the same reads of the rubrics of how we're evaluated. I don't know if you guys use the same type of system we do. We have 4 domains, the Danielson rubric. It's very it's supposed to be very objective, but it's really not, because there are words like most and almost all that a lot of teachers have issue with because they're not being sure how they're being rated. And then, the whole chain of bureaucracy within the school that makes it very difficult for everyone to have a mutual understanding of how the ratings are going to be. And then teachers end up worrying more about the ratings than they do about their students, which is almost the opposite of what these evaluation systems were supposed to do.
Yeah, because if you focus on your kids and you focus on your objectives and writing solid lesson plans. I've been saying it for years, and granted, young in the grand scheme of things, the ratings will take care of themselves. If you put kids first and you do right by your students, you won't get a bad observation.
Right, preaching to the choir. I feel the same way, but there are plenty of teachers who are in the building who I'm trying. You can't. It's hard for them to take the risks to move on. They've been doing this for 25 years, and that makes it very difficult for them to see these changes as positive, especially when I'm for New York City, we're in a much wealthier area than most places in the city. So our kids test well, and it may not necessarily be because they are because they have great teachers, but because they have the socioeconomic status to make changes to any problems that they're having. They can hire tutors. They can ask their parents for help. So other parts of the city, they don't have those same benefits that our students have, and that leads the teachers to this false belief sometimes that their methods are the way because they're testing well. So it's how do you get teachers who do have good test results because they are teaching, test taking skills, but they're not really teaching the core of most of the subjects. How do you get them to change when you're saying you're measuring them by tests and you say, hey, look, your test results are good, but we still want you to change.
I guess therein lies the conundrum.
What?
I said, I guess that's the big conundrum. Test scores are good. You have people who think, all right, hey, it's not broke. Kids are testing great. Like you said, why do we have to change?
And I mean, I understand the point where they're coming from, but the test, I tell them, test is not the be all. But at the end of the day, it makes them happy and they go home. And, oh, look, my kids do well. And that's their measure. Is there a way of breaking that measure with the teacher, with the other teachers?
I mean, it comes to the teacher who wants to just say, F the test, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. If you do well in the end, great, good for you. It's like the SAT. Look, you're going to college no matter what. You're
Right.
applying for college. You're going to take an SAT. I bombed my SAT. I mean, honestly, my friends around me, I'm getting, I'm stuck in the 900s. It's not because I'm an idiot. It's because I was an awful test taker. No matter what I did, I would freeze. I remember sitting there.
That's on the old SAT, right?
Was that?
That's on the old SAT, not the new one?
The old SAT, not the new one.
The old one, because now there's a new one.
Yeah, right. No, I was somewhere in the 900s. I don't even remember what it was. Like, it doesn't even matter to me. Like, I don't go to my employer today and be like, so how'd you do in your high school SAT? Like, who cares? I did other things. I just couldn't imagine, like, just walking through life and saying, okay, so I did well in a test, and here I am today. If my testing skills were anything, I wouldn't be having the job that I have. I wouldn't be allowed to teach kids. Are you kidding me? I took a high school Regents in math, and I sat there. I remember like it was yesterday. Sat there shaking and sweating just because I froze. I was like, I know this stuff. I just can't do it. I just can't do it right now. So if that's my measuring stick, then I was an awful student.
But I have the opposite.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have the opposite experience where I've always been a good test taker, which makes me understand that tests don't mean really all that much because, I sat down for one of the teacher's exams that I'd never taken an ed course, and I passed it because I'm a good test taker. But it's not, and what did that go to show? I never learned anything about it. So the tests themselves are not the best measures for teachers or for students or even schools.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we have the opposite experience, but literally the same. We've been taught the same lesson.
And I think you have obviously a new leader in the building, but I think that if he can find the people that are trying new things, share that with the staff, celebrate those with the rest of the building, and that group of teachers who are taking the risks can then share that with others, and then you can build this culture of risk taking and innovation and trying new things and doing things differently. And over time, you will build. You can build that up. You're gonna have teachers that are gonna fight every step of the way, but I think that if you can start small, I think it goes back to when I listened to Eric Schenger speak, and he said to his staff who fought him on his innovations. I need 5 people. He gave them whatever they wanted. He celebrated their successes, and then he built that culture from that small pocket of teachers.
So building teacher leadership is obviously very important. Yeah.
You have to build capacity.
Of course.
You have to.
It's really important to build, to build that. So
He was on. He used a great term that I'm really a fan of, and that was empowering our educators. You have trust them. They're college educated. We hope. But district leaders and building administrators, they need to rely more on their people. It's not always about, we got an extra few $1,000s. Let's bring in an outside speaker. We've got people within our building that can facilitate these conversations and make positive change. That's what we need to see more of.
Yeah. Get the right people in the place and get out of the way.
Yep. We're in the trenches, right? If you got us there for a reason, you got us there to do something.
Well, now you're back in the trenches, right, AJ?
What's that?
You're back in the trenches now?
Back in the trenches, man. So,
and there's got to be
congratulations
about
thank you.
Leadership that relates to, leaders not being seen or having to, be heard.
Right.
The best leaders bring out the leadership qualities in people they're managing.
Yeah,
that's great point, Chris. I truly believe that, like you said, leaders build other leaders. They don't build followers.
Success breeds success.
Yeah. All right, I'm checking out. Have a good one, guys.
No, thanks for jumping in, man. Awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Later.
Ed Camp, Southwest Connecticut.
That's right.
March 12th, 2016.
It's a little far from where I am.
Just a little bit.
Come on, you can make it.
That's like 5 bridges, $100 worth of tolls.
Yeah, it's worth it. PD
My anniversary, too.
There he is. Hold on. Let's take a time out real quick, and let's find out what. Stop.
All right, we're back after a brief little not recording break. So Adam Schoenbart's back here on the program to tell us about our challenge for next time. Go ahead, Adam.
So we're going to bring it back to the beginning to that superlative idea. Who is we're going to think of it as the yearbook review. You're going to go through your literal or imaginary school yearbook or faculty directory and make a list of thinking about the value of your colleagues and trying to bring some positivity, connectivity, and collaboration back to your teaching and your practice in your district. With the idea, I can count on somebody for something. I can count on Chris to make me laugh. Who's somebody that you can count on to add some positivity and why to your teaching and your education world? That's going to kind of take our There's No I in Team to the next episode in 2 weeks.
March 15th, payday.
I got to go get ready for my Ed Camp tomorrow, Ed Camp OHS, just my school district Ed Camp. The one session I'm facilitating is called dealing with plagiarism in the Google world. Now that we can Google anything, how do we teach kids digital citizenship skills and deal with and prevent plagiarism and cheating? So if anyone has any recommendations for it, throw them my way.
Wait, real quick. Is it digital citizenship or dual citizenship?
It will probably start off with digital. We'll see where it ends. I'll keep you posted.
I only asked because you said dual citizenship.
Yeah.
You did. You did.
He's problematic.
Adam, where can we find your stuff online?
All right, so you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Schoenbart and at aschoenbart.com, where I blog about all this kind of stuff regularly. So check it out. Thank you, guys. This is fun. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Adam.
Mr. D'Onofrio.
Yes.
Where can people connect with you online?
Right now, I'm just starting an online presence more than ever before. Just with Twitter right now, Mr. D'Onofrio, but Mr. is spelled out because MR was already taken. Other than that, I don't have a website up. I don't have anything else at the moment. So I'm just starting to add more technology to my repertoire here.
Excellent. Make sure you come back in 2 weeks and have a website and just be all decked out.
Oh yeah, all decked out. It'll be good to go. Better than yours. It'd take me 2 lifetimes.
I gotta say, it was great to meet you at Ed Camp Staten Island. I had a great day. AJ was gonna be there, but
Things happen.
Twitter.
We understand.
Well,
AJ,
thank you guys. I'm gonna pop out now.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
all right, take it home, big boy.
Take it home. So you can find me, I guess, on Twitter at AJ Bianco, and you can catch my blog, which I have a notebook full of ideas that I want to blog about. Just finding the time to get them at ajbianco.me. So I'll get my blog up there running again shortly. Really would like to have a post a month. I know that was my goal in like December. So I'm a couple months behind.
You are where you are. It's okay. There are no
rules. You are where you are.
And for those who have left tonight's chat, our other teammates, Dani Kennis. Again, you can find her online at danikennis.com, DANI, Kennis like tennis with a K.com, and she's Kennis Dani on Twitter. Please connect with Stacey Lindes. She's a technology integration specialist from West Windsor, New Jersey. She blogs at iruntech.me, and connect with Stacey on Twitter at iruntech. Chrissy Romano, theconnectededucator.com, also on Twitter at theconnectededucator. And I am Chris Nesi at Mr. Nesi on Twitter. Mr. is not spelled out, MRNESI. And I'm at chrisnesi.com, where I host the House of EdTech podcast. For all of us here at Shift Ed, have a great day, complete your yearbook challenge, and we look forward to the next Shifting of Education on March 5th, 2016. We'll see you next time, everybody.